Good morning folks, we're on to day 4 and we wake up in the Ben Glass campsite. So we're going to have a wee tour around the place. Today we'll be heading towards Tyndrum. Compared to yesterday, this is a far easier section to do. I think any section would be easier than what we've already done. Distance wise today we're under the 12 miles. For most part it's quite easy walking until we get towards Kinlochleven where there's a bit of elevation we need to climb. So let's make a start and have a wee look about. So before we have a look around the campsite, if you see the road section there leads to a wee bridge, if you go across it, and I think it's to the left hand side, you'll come across the Drovers Inn. Now this is a very old inn, full of character, rich in ghost stories. Yeah, a very nice place to go. I'll put a few pictures of the place up for you. It's just an alternative place you can go for a meal instead of being on the campsite. But the campsite itself also does nice meals and they're reasonably priced. As you can see, there's a nice sitting area there. You go to the left hand side, you have our shop area and you have your toilets. Now if we're getting checked in, you can get checked in at the shop, and if the bar area is open, which is in there, you can do there as well. Now in the morning they do a buffet breakfast, so it's a good way to set you up for the day. And along here you have your camper's kitchen, which is also your drying room as well. And just here you'll see a luggage room. Now that'll be for doing your baggage transfer service. Now they also have obviously a vast area for pitching tents. They have camping pods or hiking huts. Now I've looked at the prices for the hiking huts towards the latter season, and they're actually very reasonably priced. I think you could pick one of them up for just under £50 when I looked into it. But we're going to head up the road and straight away you can see the sign ahead of us to take us back on the trail. So it's been a bit of a rise coming out of the campsite. What we're walking on at the moment is part of an old military road. Now a lot of these roads were actually built upon old drovers paths. Now the drovers were basically your Highlanders, and they used to shepherd their cattle down to the markets down in the borders. So they had a fair trek. Keep in mind some of these have come from right the north of Scotland. So when it came to actually building these roads, they were building upon the framework that was already there. So today we're looking for a focal point, which is the Fall of Phalanx. Last time I went along here you could certainly see plenty of falls, but I didn't see a direct path down to them. Now I know you can get better views from the other side of the river, so we'll just see if we can manage to find something today. You wouldn't think you'd have to put signs like that up. So we're just leaving the Falls of Phalanx. There was some nice views. I do believe looking at the path on the other side, which leads from the car park, you probably would get nicer ones. So I am very much looking forward to getting into Tyndrum today. It's a well-needed rest stop, an opportunity to get into Tyndrum Holiday Park, where I've got a hiking pod booked, so I can get there, dry all my kit out, get a shower, put my clothes into the wash, do all the sort of basic admin things you need to do. I think what I'll do first though is drop my stuff off and head to the Green Welly stop and get some food first. I'm certainly getting on the hungry side now, and once you get hungry, that's all you can think about. Very easy to miss this little side path. So we crossed the bridge onto the other side of the river. I'm just now on this smaller track again. I hope you've been enjoying the trail up until now. And if you have been, please leave a like. Also leave a comment down below. Better still, if you could hit that subscribe button. It really does help actually when I'm on these walks. And I say we, that means you, the viewers. I always kind of feel when I'm doing these walks that you're with me. That sometimes pushes me on past what I'd normally maybe do. So I am very grateful for you being here. Oh my gosh, that's narrow. That's just getting across under, I should say, the railway section. This section we're walking on at the moment used to be the old main road. You can still see the cat's eyes. Fortunately, the path on the road is far more forgiving. And once we come under those sort of bridge sections, we're going along this nice track. An opportunity to get a little bit of a rest on that upward climb. So we just reached a milestone. So when you get to this point, you're at the halfway point along the West Highland Way. Now, if I was to go to my left, that's going to take you into Kinlochleven. Now Kinlochleven has shops, it's got a hotel, there's B&Bs, and for a lot of people they may decide that once they've done half the section of the West Highland Way, they're going to call it a day and get the train back or the bus back to where they've come from, and then before coming back on a later date to complete it. Now there are some notice boards here, so I'm going to pan you around so you can have a wee look at them. So we're leaving Glen Coe behind, and we're now starting to head down into Strathfitling. And I can tell you it is very exposed going along the mountain ridge. We have gained most of the elevation that we will be doing for today. The last time I came here, it was full of trees, which did give you some protection from the elements. But forestry workers are up here. I had to cross a few of the logging paths, which have been choked with mud. But we'll pick up again as soon as we're off this section. It's a beautiful view up ahead. Looking at the contrasting colours of the trees. Now I know it looks quite desolate with the forestry works that's ongoing, but all these trees will be replanted again. Finally coming off the hillside. That's a lovely looking bridge. I think there's an older one just past it. I'm glad to be on some level terrain, and it will be like this for most of the way into Tyndrum. Oh, it's nice actually. I spoke to one of the farmers there, and it's not often that you actually get to see the Highland cow calves, so he was good enough to let me film them. Probably not the best sign. He's cleaned up. I'll try and see if I can actually find a better picture of this. If we look to right, you can actually see the old graveyard. And people often miss this. I don't know whether it would be classed as the old kirk just over there. I think there's the opportunity while I'm here just to have a wee seat. Why not? So much is told about Robert the Bruce and his great victories. Very little is told about his defeats. So I'm going to have a swing around so you can have a wee look at this board. So we're coming off the track here. That's a small path. Now the sign itself is actually a lot further up. Probably been better placed near the roadside. So just be watchful for that. So behind me you have the locking of the lost sword. Now, to let you know what a locking is just basically a small lock. Now, after Robert the Bruce was defeated along at that battle, he fled this way, and according to history, his men and himself, they threw their swords into this locking to basically save weight so they could escape. Now they've had divers in the loch to try and look for these swords, and they've not had any joy. Now I reckon the possibility is, one, the loch has receded and the swords themselves are not in the loch anymore. They're actually probably further aground. Or the other factor is, if it was a family sword for Robert the Bruce, he might have actually sent someone back to reclaim it at a later point. So the West Highland route goes behind me and it snakes its way around the back of the town. It'll end up at the Greenwelly stop. Now I'm going to be moving into the campsite, so I'm going to cross the bridge, get checked in, and I'll catch up with you once we're in the cabin. Oh man, this place is absolutely cooking. Just have to open the window there. So it looks like I've got a fridge, possibly a freezer, television, microwave. So I went from one extreme to being exceptionally cold to absolutely boiling. But at least it'll help me dry out my gear. It is unbelievable how warm it is. I've actually had to open up the doors. They've had obviously the heating on full blast, which is great if you've been out in the cold. But my camera was absolutely steaming up and I was having to wipe it down every sort of minute. So what we'll do, I'm going to get myself into town, get myself some to eat, come back and do all the necessaries, get the everlasting shower and get all my gear washed. And I think what we'll do tomorrow, we'll pick up again once I've been fully refreshed. I'll have a real look around the campsite and we'll head into town and I'll show you all the different facilities that are there. Good morning folks, we're going on to day 5. It's a little bit blowy, still a bit on the wet side. So today we plan to go from Tyndrum all the way to Inveroran. Now this is going to be one of the easier sections. It's generally quite a level profile and not much in the way of distance to cover. We're looking at just under the 9-mile mark. So what the first thing we'll do, I'll have a very quick scan around the site, and we're going to head into town and more importantly get some breakfast. So during peak season there's a wee food stop there. You have obviously your reception block when you get checked in. I'll be leaving details for the site in the description down below for the video. You can see all the cabins. There are areas obviously you can get your tents pitched up as well. And if we look a little bit further down, that block there, just past the cars, that is your toilet block and your laundry facilities. So this is a very busy little town on this road. So we've got the Real Food Cafe. This place is very popular with backpackers and anyone else passing through. And the staff are meant to be exceptionally friendly as well. And I do believe it actually has a warm fire, so we'll head inside and we'll get a bite to eat. This is my ideal start to any hike. Full cooked breakfast, nice cup of tea, really just sets you up for the day. So if you're looking for a bar meal and a pint, you've got the Tyndrum Inn. And now one of the more iconic stops along the route, the Green Welly stop. And this is where you're going to pick up all your supplies that you need. And we'll be looking to shop in a second. So I'm just going to take you over. This is out of season. You're just probably going to the main restaurant. But if we were to come along here, this is where you would have your hiker's bar. And that's where you would go in. At all the tables there's charging points. Let's have a wee look at some of the gear that they have. There's a smidge, I was talking about that earlier on. Gas canisters are handy. And over here, got socks and things like that. And as I said, you can come in here, there's also lots of things like food and all the rest you'd expect. This is turning out to be a very dreary day, very overcast, still spitting with rain. According to the forecast, the rain's meant to die down. We'll wait and see on that one. So a nice hearty breakfast. Sat near to that warm fire. On days like this, it's very hard to leave a place like that. But then we went on to the Green Welly stop. Had a wee look around obviously the store there. I was in there yesterday and I had Cullen skink. If you don't know what that is, it's just a fish chowder soup. Ordered a big bowl of that and I was full. So highly recommend you try that. There's actually won awards for their soup there. So one of the things I actually did miss out about the Green Welly stop is they actually have laundry facilities there as well. So if you're not in a campsite, that's an opportunity to get your stuff washed. So just before you get to the railway bridge, you just come down. There's a nice wee pitch site just by the small river there. So this is a section of the trail that a lot of people find very tedious and they don't actually like. And for most part it's due to the fact that you're actually going along the main road. All you can hear is the traffic, which I can understand. It's not the nicest thing to be hearing when you're trying to relax. So we'll move on. So push towards the Bridge of Walkie, and after that we'll be away from the traffic. So when we walk upon these old military roads, you know, we are taking a step back in time in respect. So you can just imagine, you know, your British regulars and the red coats marching along here, you know, fearful of being attacked, ambushed by Jacobites or the Highlanders, who are better sometimes known. And it wasn't just that, the very elements of the country itself were very inhospitable. So you can imagine how they must have felt being all the way out here. This could have not have been a favoured posting. Coming away from the exposed moorland, and straight away you're met by Inveroran. It has one of these fabulous sort of conical shapes. In the summer months it's spectacular. So now we're seeing sort of pastoral lands, quite contrast to what we've just been walking through. So I know this might be one of the easier sections of the trail to do. You are very exposed to the elements, and it is strong winds at the moment. And if it hadn't been for my trekking poles, I could have easily been taken off feet on a few occasions. So I don't really want to try and dispel this notion, you know, that this is a easy trail. You know, if you get the bad weather, what would seem like a very easy hike can turn into a very hard day, you know. And I think you just need to keep that in mind. Treat the trail with respect. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to head to the Bridge of Walkie, and I think I'm going to stop by, get something to eat and warm up. So we're just coming into the Bridge of Walkie now. It's a very small hamlet, and I suppose the main things it has is a train station, small fire station which we're just going past, and community hall which we're going past in a few seconds. Well, the main thing we're looking for is going to be the hotel, and hopefully it's just gone midday, so it's taken us 2.5 hours to come down here. So here's the hotel. It looks like it might actually be closed. Yeah, just before coming down here, the stag was hiding in an undergrowth and it jumped up. There was also a couple other ones hidden away. So unfortunately the hotel's closed, so that puts a bit of a dampener on getting some food. It's not back open again until it looks like March. But behind me you'll see these are actually a lot of the rooms that you have, and they're meant to be really nice. They also have a small shop here within the hotel, and they also do packed lunches. So just as you come across the bridge, you're going to come to this little site here. You can get pitched up, and you've got some nice benches. I would suggest if it's peak season and you're coming along here, try to get here early, otherwise you'll not find a place. So we're just headed into Glen Forest. Bit disappointing that we couldn't get into the hotel. I'm actually quite surprised at this time of year. It's on quite a busy route. You'd actually expect at least the bar facilities in the main hotel to be open. Anyway, going into the forest will at least get us a break away from the wind. And I can tell you one thing, it is getting rather cold. You can actually feel it on the hands now. So it's quite a short walk through the forest area. Now we've got a short walk up to the top of the summit. It's quite a gradual ascent. All around you you're going to see that the trees have been felled. Hopefully when we get to Inveroran, the hotel's open. If it's not a big deal. I've got enough food supplies on me to keep me going till tomorrow. I'll probably try and head towards Glen Coe ski resort and look at the facilities there. Utterly majestic views. The sun's trying to break through, but the wind is certainly quite strong. From where I am at the moment, there are actually areas you can get your tent pitched up, but I'm going to head further down and show you maybe a slightly better site. And you can just see the Inveroran Hotel down below. So you can just see the hill path that we came off. And here's the Inveroran Hotel. Looks like it's getting a bit of a refit at the moment. Probably walk around to the bar area, just an off chance it's open. Yeah, it's definitely closed. Well, there's a water tap there for you. So, very short walk from here, about 2 minutes. And we're going to come up to here, we're going to get our tent pitched. And I'll be glad to actually get out of this drizzle that we've had all day. So as you come down from the hotel, just keep in mind it's less than a 2-minute walk. You see the river, and you've got that nice green area to get your tent pitched. And if we go on to the other side, it's exactly the same. So if you want to go up to the bar, have a wee cheeky pint or a bar meal, you know, you've not got far to go. So that's day 5 coming to a close. A relatively short one. As I said, it was under the 10-mile mark for today. Oh, this is absolutely peaceful out here. No one about other than the deer, and there are plenty of them. So I'm just going to get the last of my stuff sorted out, and I reckon we'll pick up again tomorrow. Morning folks, we're now going on to day 6 and we're leaving Inveroran. We've got the old coaching in and we're now heading towards King House. Now distance wise we're under 10 miles, so yet again it should be a relatively short day. First thing we'll be heading towards, well, my first main stop was going to be the Glen Coe ski resort, but the weather last night, very windy, a lot of rain, and now we're starting to get the snow coming through. So yeah, it was very cold. So as soon as I put this camera down, the gloves will be going back on. So just passing the forest lodge. Now we're going on to the old military road, or drover's path. Might have a quick gander at it. So unfortunately that sign isn't very easy to read, so I'll try and sum up and add a little bit of information to it as well. Now basically what it's saying is, during the time period of the Jacobite uprisings, and there were 3 in total, the government realised that they need to have logistical infrastructure in place to support the troops who are meant to try and govern these lands and prevent further uprisings. So to that end, they built good quality roads, bridges, barracks, way stations so that they could change the horses over at. And along these routes there was also coaching inns. Now this is quite applicable because we've just passed one at Inveroran, and the next one we're going to is called King's House. Now King's House was actually kind of an informal name, but it was given to coaching inns because these are places that the government soldiers would sometimes barrack at or just simply pass by for rest stops. So there is more than one King's House. So as we go along this, well, built upon an old drover's path, this road, and many like it in the Highlands, this work, or the person in charge to make sure it was all done, was General Wade. A very well known name in the Highlands. There's many roads that are named after him. So I've just come off the track momentarily. I've seen this old building here, and I'm not entirely sure what it is because it's not a croft. The walls look far too high. So unless it's a building that serves a different purpose, possibly even a church, but that's just taking a random guess. If you know what it is, leave a comment down below. But on the other side, you've got this beautiful little pitch site here. You can just see, looking back down to the track, where we've come from. Now during the busy season, that bit by the bridge that we were at, there'll be a lot of tents here. But this area is nice and secluded. So what I'll do is, I'll put a grid reference up for you. So we're starting to leave the safety of the forest plantation behind us, and now we're going to be fully exposed to the elements coming along this path. Now you've probably realised, if you've got sore feet at this point in time with blisters, coming up this track is going to be hard on them. Roughly cut stones, this is not a nice cobble path as you get in some cities. So we're now starting to venture into Rannoch Moor. Now, the moorland is vast, it's about 50 square miles. You know, it's full of small wee loch-ins, and if you've not seen any deer up to now, you've got a very good chance to see them going along this section. So the weather forecast at the moment, this is probably about as good as it's going to get. Coming about midday, I reckon there's going to be heavier showers of snow. And I'm looking around at the mountains at the moment, and I can see there is definitely snow. about anyway, and it's starting to small bits come through in between the rain. But this is one of my favourite sections of the trail, and I think it is for many others, especially as you finish coming down into Glen Coe. So it is very sharp with the cold coming along this section, and starting to get hit with the first of the snow. Did try and actually get the drone up. It was nice and clear for a few seconds, but the time it took me to get the drone up, I was just in this white haze, so I'm probably not getting much from it. But it's nice, and day sticks, and I can tell you this, yet to see another hiker on the trail. So the first place I might actually see some hikers is actually when I get to King House. So I don't think the bunkhouse at this time of year will be very busy. So we've got a very small break in the weather, and it just went, the wind just died down, the rain stopped and snow, and it was just suddenly quiet. Very peaceful. So I decided to make the best of the opportunity and get the drone up for some views. So we're now on really the last section as we head towards the ski resort. We've got one of the very imposing Monroe in front of us. I can't pronounce its name, so I'll just put it up on screen once I get a little bit closer. But usually come along Rannoch Moor, especially during the sort of peak season when most people will do this walk, it's going to be far more colourful. You're going to have the heather in bloom, the moorlands with bits and bird life as well. I think the last time I done it in September, late September, I had snow buttons. They're about the same size of a robin, and equally as friendly. They'll come up to you, look and see if you're going to feed them or not. So just as we leave the last forest section, there's another wee pitch site down there that you can take. So as much as I'm starting to get a tad on the hungry side, I've had to stop on several occasions just to take in the views. You just think you've got this lovely picture, and then you walk a few hundred feet and you find another one. This has got to be, I'd say, one of my favourite sections of the trail, without a doubt. Now, as you come along, you will actually find there's other places you can get your tent pitch. I wouldn't say you're probably looking about less than half a dozen areas. Most of them are near the bridges, so you're near the source of water. So we're just venturing down into Glen Coe, and you'll probably see just in the far distance, that's King House, the white hotel, just in the wooded area. And if we pan the camera a little bit further along, you can see the road leading up to the ski resort. We'll be coming off that shortly. And right ahead of us, you've got the Bunkhouse Moor. Unfortunately, the summit is covered in mist at the moment, but hopefully once we get down, had something to eat, it might clear up. So we've just left the main path and now heading towards ski resort. I've not been here before, so this is a new one on me. It does advertise that there's micro lodges. I know they do have areas for pitching tents, but they do have showers, and they also have a drying room, which is quite important. So it'll be quite interesting to see what the facilities are like. But we'll catch up as soon as we get up there. So we'll look up ahead. The large building in the centre, that is your small restaurant. Also has a wee bar in it. And if we look to the top, there is a hiker's kitchen, and I imagine that's where your dry room is as well. Different types of lodges you can get. But if we come down, shower blocks, and in that wooded copse area, which is just behind the vans, that's where you get your tents pitched. Now, the tent prices are £10, which is actually quite reasonable considering you'll get access to all the facilities that are here. So we're just leaving the ski resort. It's nice to get out of the wind for a wee while and warm up. Just to warn you, if you're going in there, you know, you're paying restaurant prices for food, and I wouldn't say it's restaurant quality either, but you're limited for choice once you get around to this neck of the woods, so make do with it. It was either this or go to the hotel at King House, which is just as going to be as expensive. So I don't think we're going to get the views of the mountains today, but we will be walking past them tomorrow. So we'll pick up again on that then. But as I said, we'll get into the bunkhouse and hopefully be able to show you around. One of the most photographed buildings along the West Highland Way. You've got the Black Rock Cottage, which belongs to the female mountaineering club. So just coming to the end of the road section leads you up to ski resort, and you will see that you can actually get picked up by buses along this route. You've got Ember and you've also got CityLink. So just coming to the rear of the bunkhouse. Now you can use these facilities even if you're not actually billeted at the bunkhouse. So there's toilets and public showers. Now from recollection, the showers do require pound coins to operate. Likewise, you do see you can get drinking water in there as well. So we get checked in at the hotel reception, and they'll give you an access card for your room. Seems to be very quiet. We'll have a wee look round. So that looks like a washroom. Nice wee tea room. And the vending machine's always handy. Oh, it's nice and warm in here. So that's our toilets. And that room should be on the other side then. Ah, here we go. Walk right past it. The dining room. Somewhere I need to get my tent into. And that's a proper dining room with heating. And then you come in here, a very small room. 2 bunk beds, fresh bed sheets, which will be nice for a change. They're not expecting anyone else to be in with me. Oh, that's a nice wee room. You know, it's very basic, but it's practical. It's all you really require. Very nice to actually sleep on some proper bed sheets. Complete luxury after the last few days. And we have lockers. Very valuable thing to have in a room. Because you never know who you're going to be sharing with. And that way at least you can put your stuff away and you know it's going to be safe. At the end of the beds there's an area for putting your luggage, which is handy, so you're not tripping over it. I had booked breakfast. Breakfast was £10. The room itself is £42. Getting back to the breakfast though, that's over in the main hotel. So I don't know what I'm going to get for that. I could have asked. It'll be a surprise for me in the morning, I'll let you know. So a lot of things we'll do is we'll have a wee look around tomorrow, around the area. I'll show you some areas that you can get yourself pitched up as well. And we'll then pick up again in the morning as we head towards Kinlochleven. Good morning folks, as we now go on to day 7. Oh, the days are going quickly now. So we'll be heading towards Kinlochleven. Yet again, mile wise it's a rather short day, under the 9 mile mark. So hopefully it shouldn't take us too long. Though we do have quite a bit of ascent. We do have this infamous Devil's Staircase to do. So we're going to have a wee look around King House while we're here. If you look to my right hand side, you'll see that small plantation there. This is one of the areas you can actually get your tent pitched up, so that's the path down to it. Anyway, we'll move on. So in front of us you have part of the original coaching inn. Obviously the new addition is to the left hand side of it, where you have your reception. We'll move along and we'll cross the bridge. So here we have the Etive River, and that's that small plantation I was just talking about where you can get pitched up. Now you will see there's signs here that say no camping, and that's because they don't want anyone camping in the immediate vicinity of the hotel. So the area's just down there, that's an example which has obviously been used in the past. So we're now back on the old military road. Very pleasant stay for most part at the bunkhouse. Inside the bunkhouse you had coffee, tea, things like that you could help yourself to. Really nice powerful showers. Yeah, very clean inside. Quite impressed with it. And if you did want to do your washing, it's actually one of the cheapest services I've actually seen for using machines. So the breakfast in the morning, you've got opportunity to a buffet for hot food, so you can make a full cooked breakfast. Got cold meats, they've got pastries, fresh orange juice. Yeah, you see I love my food. So yeah, very impressed with that. For the sake of £10 for the breakfast, £42 for the room. Now keep in mind, I got that room and there was no one else actually in it. If you want a full room to yourself, you'd obviously be having to pay double that. But for me, £52 for all I got, I was very happy with. Now, the way in, or the old coaching inn, that is a bar that most hikers will use to get their food. Now just be advised, because this happened to me when I done it, if they are busy in the hotel and they need extra room to accommodate people, a lot of times they'll close the hiking bar to allow for that overflow. Because last time I wasn't able to get in because of that. Well, we'll move on. Unfortunately today, it looks like mountains are going to be very overcast and mist. I don't see that lifting for us. I mean, what absolutely majestic views that we have coming through Glen Coe. It never grows old. I love passing this way. I'm always captivated by looking around at the nearby mountains. Very popular with tourists and also mountain climbers as well. There's some very challenging roads along this area to do. And it's also well known for an unfortunate piece in history befell one of the clans that used to live in this glen, and the massacre that took place. So I'll put some information up on the screen for you so you can have a wee read of that. So if you see the small wooden copse ahead of us, the start of the Devil's Staircase is just behind that, and that's where we'll have a 420 metre ascent. So we're now going on to the highest section of the West Highland Way. Now, the Devil's Staircase has a bit of notoriety, partly because it's history I'll talk about in a second, and I think a lot of people who try and promote this sort of route try and make this path out to be worse than it actually is, and there's really no need. I mean, if you come across Loch Lomond, the technical skills that you had for getting through that will serve you well doing this. Only thing is, you've just got a little bit more altitude to do. It's only slightly taller than Kinlochleven. Now, as for the history of it, why it's called Devil's Staircase, there is folklore behind it. There's a tragic story of some navvies, that's like engineers or labourers, who are working on the Blackwater Reservoir. They were trying to make their way back to King House because that's where they seem to be lodged, at least in that area. And unfortunately, they had been drinking, and they must have come across the northern end of Rannoch Moor in bad weather, probably at winter time, and unfortunately they died. So it does have that little bit to tie in with this section of the trail. But I think the name was also given from the soldiers and labourers who actually made this particular trail. But it was back-breaking work, taking the supplies up this hill to make it. And I think that's actually where more grounded that the name came from. The name from the soldiers themselves. So when you're coming up this section, please take the time, you know, to look back and take it all in. And the easiest way to climb this hill is just doing small steps, taking no rush, and if you're struggling with breathing, just try and breathe through your nose. And it'll go reasonably quickly. So just arrived at the trig point as we cross the Beelak between the two mountains. Yeah, that wasn't too hard coming up, to be honest. I have to say, in some respects, I actually find it easier on Connacht Hill. It's a little bit icier on the top section, just so I have to mind my feet, but the snow's starting to melt. Now we've got the exceptionally long descent down to Kinlochleven. It will last forever. Anyway, let's make a start on that. So in the far distance you can see the Moors mountain range. The Ring of Steel is a very good walk. That one is available on my channel. Well worth a watch. Now if we look down, you can actually see the path gently winding round and rising just around the hillside. And we should start to get views of the Blackwater Reservoir soon. So just as we descend down the path and come across that little stream, you'll see right ahead is a nice little area that you can get pitched up on the grass over there. And nice views. So it might only be a gentle breeze up here, but it is icy cold. So I'm looking forward to making a bit of a descent, try and warm up a little bit. One of the things when doing the trail last time, I never really took into account how vast the Blackwater Reservoir is. Now obviously it's an artificially made reservoir, or expanded upon a loch that was obviously already there. So when they flooded that particular area and they built the dam which is, to my understanding, is the largest one in Scotland, there were small hamlets, there was military roads, there was even a prison camp, I believe. So there's a lot of archaeology buried under that reservoir. Now the reservoir itself was built to help power through hydroelectric the smelting works, which was built up in Kinlochleven, and that's how the town really grew. Now obviously smelting works are no longer in use in Kinlochleven, but the power is still used for the ones, I believe, at Fort William. And we'll see more of that as we head down the trail. So you look just ahead, I can see a Munro that I've climbed, and Boddock just looks over the Kinlochleven. You should just be able to make out the town and possibly make out the road that will soon be joining. So now on the long descent into Kinlochleven. Now Kinlochleven actually used to be two smaller townships one on each side of the river. But as the smelting works started to encourage more people to the area, just grew into basically one larger town as we know it today. Just seeing a cyclist coming up the path, and once you get onto this track, you're going to realise how steep it is. So well done for cycling up here. So once we're down there, I'll show you some of the facilities that you can use. I'm staying at I think it's the Dalrigh Hotel. So we look down here and you can see obviously all the industrial works which would have aided the aluminium smelters. And it must have been quite dramatic at its time when for such a small place and suddenly all this just starts to spring up. So as you come into town, you have the Blackwater campsite. You can see in the areas that you can get pitched up. Obviously during the busy season these areas will go quite quickly, so yet again I advise that you book well in advance. Just to the left of that last pod you've got your dry room and a small kitchen area, and the main building is also the hostel, though they do have other sort of lodges in different areas. So what I'll do is I'll supply a link down below so you can actually check out all the accommodation they have available. So this is one of the sort of recommended takeaways places that you go to, especially if you're staying at the campsite. So you just got a wee look at the hotel I'm staying at tonight. I'll take you back there once we've had a wee walk around the town, but I'll let you know this was the least warm welcome that I've had going along this trail, and I thought sometimes you get that because of your backpacker, because sometimes you have issues with like hygiene and things like that, but for me, freshly washed and in fresh clothes, so I don't find that would be an issue, and they do rely on backpackers for trade. So I went and had a wee look at the reviews, and it's nothing to do with backpackers, they're equally like that apparently to everyone. But as I said, I'll show you the room in a wee bit. But first, let's have a wee walk at some of the facilities, some of the shops and that you can use. So we have the Highland Getaway Inn. I've actually eaten in there before. Very friendly staff. Complete contrast to the place I've just come from. Staff couldn't give a monkey's. Anyway, try not to be overly bitter. So we walk into town, and to the far side you have your co-op, and there's also a cash machine there as well. So I'll have a wee look around the room now we're back. The floor's got lots of stains on it, and if we were to go, at least you've got some coffee facilities, you kind of expect it. And in the bathroom, very dated. Oh, unfortunately I'm going to get some flash in there. And it's like thick with mould around the shower and stuff like that, so yeah, it's not very nice. And we'll come out here. I think this mattress is flying south for the winter. Anyway, it's been a pretty good day. Coming through Glen Coe. Perhaps I didn't get the best reviews at points because of obviously the cloud cover, but we made the best of it. As for the hotel, I think there'll be more cheer in a graveyard. But I won't be coming back again. I did actually have a reservation for food tonight, but if the place is as unclean as this, I hate to imagine what the kitchens are like, so I made a reservation at the other hotel which I showed you, and they were more than happy to get that sorted for me. So we'll pick up again tomorrow on our last day. Hard to believe it's come up so quickly. Anyway, we'll see you tomorrow. Good morning, folks. We're just going on to our last day of the West Highland Way, and we're just leaving Kinlochleven. So today, to get to Fort William, we've got about a 15-mile trek. Now, it is quite a bit of a distance. You know, we have some elevation and that to climb first, but most of it's on a level plain, so we should be able to do the miles reasonably quickly. It does say anything up to 5 to 7 hours to complete. So if you're having to get transport at the end of the trail, you'll need to take this into account to give yourself plenty of time. There is an optional diversion route that we can take. So we'll have a wee look at that as we get a bit closer to it. So for most part, it's quite a gradual incline to get to the top. A few streams to cross, nothing too challenging. Tend to find you'll get a lot of deer in these woods. Maybe not this time in the morning. Oh, glad to leave that hotel behind. I won't even call it a hotel. Even this morning I'm going down for breakfast. There's no good morning, there's nothing like checking your order. Oh, I can't believe that place. Anyway, onwards and upwards, eh? And a final look back towards Loch Lomond. What a beautiful view from up here. So we managed to come up the hill in a reasonably good time. The weather is very mild. We've actually got quite a good day for coming into Fort William. But yeah, I was starting to feel it. I had to undo my jacket just to air myself. As we come onto the main estate track, you'll see immediately to your left hand side, past the posts, a small sort of muddy track that leads up to a hillock. On that hillock, there's at least 2 to 3 good areas to get a tent pitched up, and you'll get beautiful views looking down over the loch. So once we get to this point, the track starts to level out, and that's you done most of your heavy incline walking for the trail. So I'm just giving it some thought, this being my second time on the trail, you know, what my opinions of doing it are compared to what I've done before. And I would say I have enjoyed it a lot more. I've taken a lot more in. Now I know people who will do this trail almost like it's a pilgrimage. And there's one guy who's done it about 100 times. You know, I mean, that's like almost like twice every year. So something draws people back to doing this trail. You know, now there's plenty of trails in Scotland or in the UK that you can do. So what do you reckon it is that draws people back? I think for me, I remember when I done it, I mean, I'm not someone who likes massive crowds, but I did enjoy speaking to other walkers while doing this route. So I wonder whether it's that aspect, because in a lot of trails you don't have that. So as I said, if you've got an idea, drop a comment down below. So we follow the path down. You'll see we've got a slight gentle rise as we come towards the end of the glen, and we go around the mountainside. So we're leaving the more barren landscape behind us as we start heading into this forest plantation, which is far nicer. In some respects it was nice lush green colours. So this will take us down into Glen Nevis. Now, as you're coming towards the end of the trail, for many people it'll simply be the case is you'll be just heading home. You'll be getting that train or the bus, whatever you've arranged, and that'll be it. You'll be thinking of home and resting up. But other people, you know, they decide that they might want to stay on for another day or even more. So if you're staying on, a lot of people will go to the youth hostel or the campsite in Glen Nevis, and they'll go and climb Ben Nevis the next again day. So another option, instead of doing Ben Nevis, is actually to go to the Steel Falls, which is just within Glen Nevis. And that is the second tallest waterfall in the UK, and that is spectacular. The glen itself looks like something out of Jurassic Park, the movie. So well worth having a wee look at that if you can find the time. Now, other people will then decide that they want to do something a bit more substantial, and they'll look at doing another trail. Now, from Fort William, you're not spoilt for choice. The most common one people will do is the Great Glen Way. You know, it's one I've not done. I've done sections of it, I'll be honest. And after you've done it for a few hours, it gets a little bit on the tedious side. The one I would suggest, especially if you're still quite new to the hiking, is to do the East Highland Way. Now, I do have a video on that one. The reason why is it's a very nice quiet route. In some respects, it's not as challenging as the West Highland Way, but one thing it doesn't have is a lot of signposts. You know, so you're going to have to be more reliant on your own navigation skills, and you'll also get to try to walk across some minor rivers and some moorland just to test yourself. And the more extreme, for people who are looking for something along those lines, is the Cape Raft Trail, which is the hardest trail to do in the UK. But you really need to be at a decent level to do that one, and done a lot of planning, because there aren't many places that you can get supplies along the route for that one. So hopefully you're able to have a wee read of that sign there regarding the battle and the escape of the Campbells. Now, within Scottish society, the clans all had different forms of affiliations. The Campbells themselves, they had some involvement with the Glen Coe massacre of the MacDonalds, so there was a lot of hatred there, and as a clan, it lost a lot of respect from other clans because of it. Now, if we look behind me, you'll see this pile of stones, almost like a cairnstone. So, legend has it, if you take a stone off that pile, it shows you're a supporter of the Campbells. And if you put a stone on the pile, you're a supporter of the MacDonalds. Our first view is of Ben Nevis, a very imposing mountain. So we're going to head down the track, and you'll see it just start to rise up again, and we'll pick up the Forester's estate track. So we're just on the main estate track, and you're going to be met with these beautiful views of Ben Nevis. But one of the things I was talking about earlier on is there's actually an option to take a wee detour off the path and look at an old Pictish fort. It takes about 20 minutes there and back, so let's go off on a wee side quest and see what we can find. Hopefully this is it. And it does promise to give really good views. So when you get to where I am at the moment, if we take the path down the hill, that'll take us onto the main road, which will then lead us into Fort William. But here's another option for you. If you carry along the track, that'll keep you in the woodlands all the way until you get to the north section of Fort William, just by a transportation hub. So there's no need to be walking on hard tarmac for the last couple of miles, unless you're going down to one of the campsites or towards the hostel. So just as you come into town by the roundabout, you'll come across this sign here. Now this used to be the finish line for the West Highland Way. They since moved it into town, lately obviously trying to encourage people to buy stuff from the shops. So we'll make our way in town and we'll pick up again. Here we are, finally at journey's end. 96 miles done, and it's been quite an adventure. I'd like to take the time to thank you for watching the video. I hope you've been able to take something away from it. If you have any questions, please do leave a comment down below. Likewise, if you've liked the video, leave a like. And it would be very helpful if you could hit that subscribe button as well. And there will be more content coming out in the future.